So, you're craving a juicy, flavor-rich burger and fries, but everyone and their mother is yelling at you to avoid those dangerous fast food burgers. What is a guy or girl to do? Well, I'm gonna give you the tips and tricks for you to skip the drive-thru and create the ultimate diabetes-fighting burger in the comfort of your own kitchen. Hey guys, Judd from Diabetes Smarts here. Thanks for checking out another diabetes discussion. Do me a favor and do yourselves a favor and click the like button for this vid, and please subscribe to our channel because we are making more fun and informative vids just like this each week. Also, just a bit of housekeeping, guys. If you want 2 free gifts to help you fight and prevent diabetes, just click the link in the description below to get your free copy of our new book. It's called Superfoods for Diabetics. And you will also get free access to our first episode of our 8-part series, That Diabetes Documentary. Definitely check that out. Okay, so one question I get a lot regarding healthy cooking is how to cook alternatives to some of everyone's favorite, but most unhealthy foods. So today's vid is just gonna be all about burgers. Everyone loves burgers, whether they're traditional red meat burgers or chicken burgers or even those vegetarian or vegan friendly burgers. And the newest and hottest trend in burgers is something called smash burgers. What are smash burgers? Well, we're gonna get to that in a sec, and later in this video I'm going to show you exactly how you can make your own smash burger right from the comfort of your own kitchen. But first, let's just cover the basics when it comes to burgers. So your basic fast food burgers are, as you probably have already guessed, just really not so good for you. Even a lot of vegan burgers are made with some surprisingly unhealthy chemicals and food products, actually. But before I give you the tools to create the ultimate diabetes-fighting burger, yeah, you heard that right, first I just want to give you some of the reasons why those traditional fast food burgers can hurt your health and raise your diabetes risk. First, the main ingredient, red meat burgers. Red meat can be quite a savory treat, obviously, it's delicious, but based on averages, it's also been reported that we are all eating between 4 and 5 servings of red meat a week. And you know what? That's a lot, and it's too much. Science is really never settled when it comes to how much or how little of any food group we should or shouldn't be eating, but right now, eating that much red meat just looks like it is far too much. There's a lot of difference in opinion now on how much meat, specifically red meat, we should eat per week. But a lot of nutritionists right now, they're saying eat no more than 3 servings of red meat per week. 3 servings, that's just about like 350 to 500 grams. 500 grams, that's just over a pound, just to give you some perspective. So not that much. But there's also a big difference between grass-fed, non-GMO beef and processed red meat. And what is so bad about processed red meat? Well, plenty actually. Let's go through it. Okay, first of all, what does processed meat mean exactly? Well, for meat to be processed, that means it's been cured, salted, smoked, or preserved so that it can sit on those store shelves for a long period of time. So what meats employ these things? Well, deli meats definitely. They are all highly processed. Any lunch meat like pepperoni or salami, sliced ham, stuff like that. Bacon is definitely heavily processed. So processed meats tend to contain a lot of preservatives. Why are preservatives bad? Well, preservatives and other chemicals in processed meats have been linked to certain forms of cancer. And certainly fast food chains, some that shall remain nameless, they've had a bit of bad press lately with certain vids that you may have seen or heard about them. Vids where people show this certain fast food chain's burger sitting on a shelf for a few months, and it's like a time-lapse video where normally you might expect to see that this burger would get broken down, eaten by the environment basically, and actually nothing like that seems to happen to this burger. It just seems to remain pristine over months. it doesn't break down. And what does that tell you? That tells you that these chain restaurant mass-produced, highly processed meat products are not natural. So beyond looking at processed red meat versus organic, just to consider a few more things, research has shown that eating over 700 grams of red meat a week can increase your risk of certain types of cancer. I mentioned that before, so that's not cool either, right? So the type and amount of red meat, they're both very important. But at the same time, red meat does give us plenty of nutrients too. You've probably heard that red meat gives you plenty of iron and zinc, and so there are some pros and cons when it comes to eating red meat. Just like with most anything when it comes to diabetes or just nutrition, the key, I think, is all about moderation. I mean, I love red meat, I love burgers, I love bacon, really, who doesn't? But I have become very aware of the type and the amount of red meat I eat each week. I also try to just eat several meals each week without any meat. Okay, so the first ingredient we're looking at, obviously, it's the meat, but we need to also talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to the unhealthiness of most burgers, and that is what's on the other side of your meat. That's the bun. So sometimes those burgers that get the huge cult followings, they get that way not because of the meat, but because of their bun. Like a lot of really trendy burger places now use brioche. That's the new type of bun that everyone seems to love, and yeah, it tastes great. They're soft, they're buttery, and I definitely see why people really go crazy for those types of buns. But let's just be real here. These types of buns are made from processed white flour. They're high glycemic, and they are the thing in your burger that's going to send your blood sugar skyrocketing. Any typical type of burger bun that you find at the supermarket, that's going to be a white bread product. So just your run-of-the-mill backyard barbecue burger, it's going to load your system with sugar. And you know what? It's not just those fast food burgers that use the most diabetes-unfriendly types of bread. So now, what else in typical burgers can make them unhealthy and can add to your diabetes risk or spike your blood sugar? Well, think about the other major selling point in those cult status burgers. What are they known for? It's their secret sauces, right? Sauce or dressing, those extra bursts of flavor. Everyone has their favorites, whether that be ketchup or mustard or aioli or even, barbecue sauce. But the thing is, all of these sauces, especially the restaurant or store-bought versions of those sauces, they are loaded with added sugars. You may have heard from other videos, to be wary specifically of barbecue sauce, and it's true because it's very well known right now that barbecue sauce has some of the highest percentage of sugar that you can find in a store-bought product. So like 100 grams of barbecue sauce, it has about 33 grams of sugar. That's just 2 tablespoons of barbecue sauce, and it's going to give you 100 calories right there. That basically turns your possibly otherwise healthy meat into candy. And the same pretty much goes for ketchup. Most any store-bought ketchup, it's going to contain a lot of sugar. Food companies load their sugar into most any of their products to make them sweeter, obviously, and that is a calculated decision because the sweeter a product is to your taste buds, that means the easier it is for you to become addicted to that product. So now we've covered pretty much all the things from top to bottom that could be unhealthy about your run-of-the-mill burger. But what else can add to your weight and diabetes risk when you grab a burger? It's the sides, naturally, of course. And as you know, when it comes to burger sides, that usually means French fries, right? And, just like bacon, everyone loves French fries. I mean, I got away with eating a big plate of fries with pretty much every meal I ever had in college because suddenly I could. I had this unlimited cafeteria fry supply every day without any parent looking over my shoulder just to tell me to stop eating so many fries. And you know what? Eating that way definitely added up to me being pretty unhealthy for a long time. So French fries specifically, they are almost always deep fried in a very unhealthy canola oil or other types of oil. And they're always, made from super starchy white potatoes, which are going to give you a big dose of simple sugars, but not much of any fiber content to help you slow your body's insulin response. And then there are other unhealthy sides you might find at certain burger shops, like say white potato mashed potatoes or mac and cheese made from white flour pastas and those sugar-heavy cheeses, or other, bar type food like maybe deep fried chicken wings or bagged potato chips. And of course, those are gonna have tons of trans fat. So, I mean, the list goes on and on when it comes to potentially unhealthy sides you'll find with your burger when you go out on the town. All right, so I think now we've covered the basics about why typical burgers can add a huge dose of sugar to your bloodstream and may add the pounds to your waistline. So now it is finally time to give you the 7 keys for creating the ultimate diabetes-fighting smash burger. Ready? Key number 1 is all about the meat. So I just made my own awesome smash burger. It tastes great, and here is how I did it. I started by replacing the red processed meat you find in most fast food burgers with some ground turkey meat, which is a great source of lean protein. And then I avoided the gluten-heavy typical breading that you'll find with most burgers and went for my own grain-free alternative. So I ended up using some tapioca flour, a little bit of almond meal, and a cup of portobello mushrooms, which I then blitzed up and added into the burger mix. And I also aimed to make smaller burger sizes for better portion control. And the great thing about smash burgers is that you can use less meat but still make a good-sized burger. Key number 2 is all about using nutrient and antioxidant-rich spices, herbs, and sauces. So I used a couple of garlic cloves in this recipe. Garlic has so many health benefits, as it aids in heart health, it protects against cancer, it has excellent anti-inflammatory properties. The list just keeps going on and on for garlic and its many benefits. I also added cumin into the burger patty, and cumin now has been known to help aid digestion and can lower blood sugar and cholesterol. It has other great health properties as well, and it tastes great. My secret ingredient for this burger was basil. Basil, it's a great herb to add into a burger, and it's gonna give you a good amount of flavor. It also contains vitamins A and C, plus calcium, zinc, and iron. And studies have actually shown that regular consumption of basil can help lower stress levels. And stress is a significant diabetes risk factor, so get some basil into your burger. So I used 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar for its anti-inflammation properties. And then I went ahead and used a tablespoon of coconut aminos, which replaces the soy sauce. A lot of burgers are made with soy sauce or Worcestershire sauce, however you pronounce it. But the great thing about coconut aminos is that it is fructose free and it contains far less sodium content than soy sauce or other sauces like it. And it is also low glycemic. Now, key number 3 is to get rid of your old white bread buns. Now, a problem with your regular burger is that the buns are usually made with white bread, which is of course high in sugar and simple carbs. So best to go for whole grain bread, which has less impact on your blood sugar. And you know what? Any 100% whole wheat is good, like rye and pumpernickel, but just remember to check out the ingredient list to make sure that there are no hidden nasties in that bread. So I ended up using whole grain sourdough buns because they can actually help lower blood sugar. Now, this is due to the lactic acid or acetic acid, which is created during the fermentation process that goes into making sourdough. So whole grain breads, they're gonna have a lot more fiber content than white bread, and that of course is going to slow your body's insulin response. So look for whole grain, look for sourdough, but you know what? The point is there are a whole bunch of ways that you can replace that typical white bread with far healthier options, which won't adversely affect your blood sugar. And you know what? It's going to be much better for you overall to switch to these types of buns. So if you really want to go for broke now in the bread department, don't go for bread at all. Just use a head of lettuce and create lettuce wraps or lettuce cups. Now, I've done this as well, and you know what? It actually tastes great. And in the end, it made me feel less bloaty than when I had a normal burger with buns. So that's another thing you can do right there too. Now, speaking of, key number 4, get in a good amount of veggies. That's what key number 4 is to me. It's all about getting the freshest vegetables into your burger. Go for organic if possible. If you can't afford it or can't find it, that's fine. But you know what I do? I just grab some tomatoes. Tomatoes are great. They are full of lycopene, which may reduce the risk of cancer and heart disease. There's also been some studies showing that eating just 1 tomato a day can actually lower your blood sugar levels for type 2 diabetics. So tomatoes are an excellent vegetable, or some people label it as a fruit, but either way, they're great to get onto your burger. So I also used a half a slice of red onion. Red onion has anti-inflammatory properties and tastes delicious, of course. And then I also put on a bit of spinach onto my burger because spinach is low glycemic and it's not going to negatively affect your blood sugar levels. So key number 5 is all about the sauces. So of course we want to replace those store-bought sauces and dressings, as we mentioned, because they usually have a whole lot of sugar. So because they are extremely high in sugar, especially barbecue sauce, just avoid buying those at the store. The healthier option is to actually make your own. Now, you can find many easy recipes for sauces like ketchup and aioli online. And they're pretty easy to make and they're fun, and then you have them at home. Now, mustard. A lot of people love mustard on the burgers. I do too. But you know what? Definitely go for the whole grain mustard instead of those squeezed bottles, the processed mustards that you find on the shelf. You can still find whole grain mustard in supermarkets, but that is the more natural, better variety of mustard. So for this burger, I actually decided to avoid using any sauce, actually, because I realized that this particular burger, it doesn't even need it. It's got a ton of flavor already. So in the end, you might not eat any sauce at all. Now, key number 6, change the way you cook. So you may be used to slathering a ton of canola oil onto a hot griddle and then cooking your burgers till it gets that black char. But you know what? That oil, it's not good for anyone, let alone those worried about diabetes. And you know what? The more that you blacken your meat, the more carcinogenic it becomes. So I ended up pan frying my burgers with just a small amount of extra virgin olive oil instead of those larger portions of canola oil. And you know what? The great thing about extra virgin olive oil is that it is high in oleic acid, which is a type of monounsaturated fat. And that has been shown to improve the good HDL cholesterol levels while decreasing those bad LDL cholesterol levels in your body. Now, grilling is still a healthy way to cook your meat. You just want to change the oil that you're using. And you can also just bake your burgers, actually. You just want to use a little bit of olive oil, and that's another excellent alternative to the typical way that burgers are cooked. So now key number 7 is rethink your sides. Now, everyone loves a side of fries with their burger. So you know what? I ended up making some healthy sweet potato fries instead of using traditional white potatoes. Now, the benefits of using sweet potatoes over those starchy white potatoes are that sweet potatoes have a lower GI than regular potatoes, and they are richer in fiber. Now, when it comes to cooking your fries, it is much healthier to bake your fries rather than deep frying them in canola oil or other unhealthy oils. Plus, it is easier, and you don't need a deep fryer to make them. So definitely slice up some sweet potatoes, lightly coat them in some olive oil, toss a little salt and pepper on them, throw them in the oven. They're ready in like 20 minutes. It's amazing. You can also dish up some other sides to go with your burger, like say just some fresh cucumber slices, or a good side salad, or even some sauteed mushrooms and onions. There are just so many healthy options out there for sides beyond those typical white potato French fries. So, okay guys, there you have it. Now, I love these burgers. They taste great, believe me, but if you don't, try it out for yourself. And you know what? I feel good knowing that they are far healthier than those store-bought red meat burgers. And you know what? You can easily make these burgers too. I promise you, you're gonna love them. They're juicy, they are flavorful. They are an excellent substitute for typical fast food chain red meat burgers. And if you do want to try them, you can find the full recipe and detailed instructions in the description below. So definitely check that out and just try it out for yourself once. And you know what? I am betting you'll be convinced to switch over to these turkey burgers. But you know what? If you wanted to just avoid the meat altogether, you can just make meatless burgers. Now, I'm not talking about going and buying vegan burger patties at the store, because you know what, many of those are filled with ingredients you probably want to avoid. But just simply take this recipe, leave out the turkey mince, and up the amount of mushrooms in there. Or you know what, just you could simply buy some large portobello mushrooms. They're meaty enough to be burgers in their own right. And you know what, I've done this before, they taste awesome. All you got to do is just brush them with a tiny bit of olive oil, maybe layer a little bit of minced garlic over top, throw them in the oven, bake them. You know, it takes 15 minutes at 400 degrees, I believe, and they come out ready to put on a bun, and they're great. Don't forget, you can always just ditch even the whole grain bread altogether and add these patties to a lettuce wrap. I've mentioned it before, but that's another great alternative you can do to cut down on your carbs. So basically, you've got a ton of options to make a heart-healthy, diabetes-fighting burger that is still going to taste great and satisfy the entire family. Well guys, that's going to do it for me. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, don't forget to click the link in the description below, because that's going to give you your chance to own a free copy of our new book, Superfoods for Diabetics, and for you to watch episode 1 of our new series, That Diabetes Documentary. Now, we've got plenty more tips and tricks to help you and your family live your life beyond the threat of diabetes and other obesity-related health complications, so please check that out. And definitely also like this vid and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with our ever-expanding library of anti-diabetes content. So, until next time, I hope you and your family are having a happy and healthy day.